Hey everyone, and welcome to my craft room. Thanks for joining me today. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania, and I can actually say sunny southern Tasmania today because the sun is actually out. I don't think it's overly warm, but it is out. Just let me check my volume, and oh no, you can hear me. Yep, there, you can hear me as much as you'd want to. Anyway, so as I say, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be featuring the Simply Succulents stamp set and dies. Lovely set. I overlooked it and it sat in my pile of shame for since I got it, probably a month and a half ago, so I thought I'd actually better bring it out and give it a bit of a run just to see how it went. And I had seen some beautiful stuff on Pinterest and YouTube using it, so I thought I might give it a go too. That's always the way. You put in a big order when you're a demonstrator. You put in a big order and you go straight to the big money items, and the other stuff sort of gets left behind until you decide to have a bit of a look at them. I'll just show you the pages in the new mini catalogue where this bundle is found. It's page 39. I can show you the inside of the catalogue now, which is good, in the mini catalogue. So page 39, the dies and the stamps come together in the bundle for $95.25 Australian, so pretty good value. You save 10% when you buy them together. And I think with this one you actually do, I would say you would need the dies, because the dies go very well with the sentiments. It saves you fussy cutting this beautiful flower, and you do get this one, this big, and I'll show you in a moment, this big full page card die, which is absolutely spectacular, so well worth getting just on its own. Anyway, so let's get crafting. I've got two cards to show you today, one that uses that big die that I just mentioned, and one that uses this beautiful succulent, this little flurry of succulents here. You do have to do a lot of colouring in with this one, I found, but as long as you don't mind a little bit of relaxing colouring in, you'll be fine. I have done a bit of colouring already, so you guys don't have to sit and watch me colouring in for ages on ages this morning. Okay, so we might start with the more contemporary card, the one with the actual potted succulents. Here is my original card. Make sure I'm in the centre of my screen there. I've got my little crosshairs there, but I always find myself moving one way or the other. But anyway, here we go. So this is the first card I did. I popped this one off Pinterest. A very talented demonstrator I cased it from, and I can't remember what her name is now. Karen Hadler, I think. I might put it in the notes, in the comments when I clarify that. I changed the colour and the embossing folder, but stuck pretty much to her design. This time I'm going to change it again. I'm going to mix it up a little bit, but it'll be fundamentally the same design there. So I'm going to use, instead of the sea sewed spray, I'm going to use So Saffron as well. And there's a reason for that, which I'll explain to you as we go. So for my second version of this card, I've got a card base, and I'm actually going to use the stitched rectangle dies. So I've actually reduced the size of my card base down. You know, guys probably know I like to use as much of the cardstock as possible, so I go 5 3/4 on the height, but this one I've only got 5 1/2, so it's 8 3/4, 8 1/4 by 5 1/2, just to bring it down a tiny touch so that it fits the proportions of the stitched rectangles a little bit better. So the same sort of gap showing through all the way around. Thanks for everyone who's joining. I can see some names pop up. Good morning, Sally and Mel and Diane and Jenny. That's all I can see on my screen there. Annette, Ilona and Jan. Hey Jan. And Sonia and Denise. Thanks guys for joining. I'll answer any comments once we're finished. There's nothing worse than popping in and out of the action. Okay, so I have I think this is about the third largest stitch rectangle in So Saffron. And then the next, I think I skip a size and go down another one in Whisper White. And I have popped this particular panel of Whisper White through the Old World paper embossing folder, which I absolutely love. I think it's one of my favourites this time round in the current catalogue. Just gives it a sort of an old, crumpled sort of, you know, old sort of manuscripty sort of parchment sort of look, which I really, really like. I'm a bit of a science fiction girl, and every time I look at it I think of a particular character in a Star Trek movie, but I won't bore you guys with that. If you want to know which one I mean, you can message me later. Okay, so I've got those as my background. And I have got a little sentiment box in the So Saffron as well. So this is one of the sentiments boxes from the die set. I did have the die set, didn't I? Here we go. Yeah, so this is one of the little sentiments from, there's that that whole page or whole card die I mentioned before. We're going to use that in a moment with the second card. So it has some lovely little sentiment boxes with them. They sort of match each other quite well. You've got these two little ones here that look like a little speech bubble almost, the small one and the large. And then you've got this one and this one. And I won't tell you what my husband thought the big one looked like when he saw me getting it out of the pack. He just wondered, it wasn't very appropriate what shape he thought that was. And it's got a little square one that fits nicely inside that as well. So yeah, it's a nice little die set and very handy for the backgrounds and things. So anyway, so I've got this one of the little So Saffron already cut. Okay, so what we might do is do some stamping and start some colouring. And I had some, I've tied it up too well. I had some Whisper White cardstock, here it is. We'll grab the dies. So we need this really big, beautiful one here, which is all our succulents all in a beautiful arrangement. And I'm going to do this in black. I think this particular black pad, ink pad needs a bit of revitalising, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, so it's a nice cling, cling stamp set, so it doesn't need any support underneath. And I'm just trying to find my wipe. Here we go. So I'll just give that a wipe. And then we've got our little pot plant as well there, our little plant pot. And I'm going to do him as well. Okay, so I'm going to use blends to colour all those. Put that out of the way. And the colours I'm using are here. Okay, so for a couple of, and I'll bring the original back in so you can see, for a couple of these ferns I'm going to stick with the light and dark Old Olive. And then for these ones here, I've got light and dark Highland Heather. Just make sure they are light and dark Highland Heather. For this one here, and some touches all over the place, I've got light and dark Blackberry Bliss. And instead of you doing the blue, which I used the Seaside Spray Blue here to bring out the blue in the backing, since I'm going to swap to Soft Sea Foam, to So Saffron, I've got my light and dark So Saffron there for my little pot. Okay, so I might just do some of the colouring. I have already got one coloured, but I'll just show you how I got some of the effects. I think probably on this particular end one here. There's a very specific succulent that has that sort of reddish ends to it. I don't know what it is. Any one of our succulent collectors will probably tell me which one that's sort of like, but I'm sure it's nothing like that. But anyway, so it's going to be a combination of light Highland Heather and light Old Olive, which seems like a funny combination together, but because we're blending them, we can sort of bring them into each other. So I'm going to start, I'm upside down, I'm going to start with this one. So with my Highland Heather, I'm just going to go around, and I only do a couple just to show you what I mean. I'm just going to do the ends of this particular one, just the very ends of it. I'll do a couple. Just the very tips. I'm watching to see if any of you succulent people know what this particular species would be. It's probably not a particular one. But I know lots of people used to collect succulents. I don't know if it's such a big thing these days. There don't seem to be as many websites dedicated and Facebook pages dedicated to it as there used to be. Maybe it's gone the way of fads in the past. Then I'm going to bring in my, I missed a bit there. I'm going to bring in my old olive. No, yes, my light old olive. I'm going to use the brush tip end just because I find it easier to blend. And then just blend those colours together. So you are going to overlap your Highland Heather a fair bit, just because you want it to be, I suppose it's almost a mash-up colour. It's a green Highland Heather almost, if that makes sense. I'll bring it closer in a second so you can see what I mean. You're not actually, I suppose, blending this. You're actually sort of transitioning between the two colours and greenifying the Highland Heather. There you are, I've discovered a word. Saturday morning, Julianne discovers a word. Greenifying. Okay. So if you wanted a little bit more of that purple at the end, you could probably go the dark Highland Heather and get a little bit more contrast there. But hopefully you can see that's sort of, it's bringing the green to a sort of a transition into the purple. Okay, the other one I'm going to show you how I've done, I might do a couple of them, is this one here that I've done with light and dark blackberry bliss. And after I'd done this design a couple of times, I must admit I got a little bit slap happy with my colouring. So you can tell with Stampin' Up stamps that you can tell where they're expecting you to have some light and dark, because they will actually pop little dashes or little strokes in the pattern where where the shadows are supposed to go. So you really don't have to do too much thinking, because you know that they've planned ahead for you. Like somebody said to me the other day, I couldn't do card making, I'm not artistic. But I tell you, Stampin' Up makes it very easy for non-artistic people just like me to produce beautiful results. So then I'm bringing in my light Blackberry Bliss, and I'm just going to, as I say, I've got a bit blasé with my colouring, just going all over that just to blend the light and the dark. Be a little bit more careful around the edges, but you don't have to, you can go pretty crazy on the insides. And actually blending, it's best to do with a circular motion, and that sort of blends the light and the dark together. So that one we've got light and dark of the Blackberry Bliss. I'll bring that one closer as well. Hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to get it in the spot. There you go. Okay, so this little one down here I have done in a combination of dark Blackberry Bliss and I think light Highland Heather. Yes, so those two. So what I'm going to do is, again, just a bit random, just add just dots of the Blackberry Bliss, the darker colour, all around the little succulent, the little cactus. He's more of a succulent, I think. Just little dots all around him, and then again blend with the lighter Highland Heather. I'm getting a bit slack here. Good morning, Kathy and Lilani and Robin. Oh, hi, Susan. Susan from New York. Lovely to see you. I hope everyone's safe and well there. I do think of you every now and then when I see the America in the news. Hope you're safe. Okay, so there we are, we have that end one there. So that's like a combination of the light, the dark and the light. These ones here, these two, I have just purely done in light and dark old olive. So popping some dark on and then doing basically the same as we did with the Blackberry Bliss one, just doing it to these two in the light and dark old olive. So I won't do any more colouring of that, but I will bring in our So Saffron and colour our little pot. As I say, I changed the colour of the pot to the So Saffron to bring out the So Saffron in the base, in the card layer we're using. So I'm going to get my dark So Saffron and just give it a bit of like a bit of shadow in a darker side. So that there. And then with the lighter, just finish her off. Just blending where the two colours meet. There we are. So Saffron, the light and dark are very, very similar, so you probably can't get too much of that difference there. I realised yesterday when I was trying to do this one that I have actually run out of colour lifter. So if you had a colour lifter, you could probably lift that light even more so that you get even more contrast with the darker So Saffron. Anyway, cool. So that's as much of the colouring as I will do. I'll bring in the ones that here's the ones I did earlier. I prepared earlier. So there we are, we have our So Saffron little pot and our rather hastily coloured succulents from this morning. But hey, life isn't supposed to be totally perfect. So I'm going to be popping those two together, and so I might glue them together now to give them a chance to actually stick together a bit before I start adding them to our card. So that's basically how they go, how I've got it there. So you're just basically adding a tiny touch of glue to the back, positioning them in place. And there they are. Kids are coming and going. I always get a bit distracted when they walk out past my window. I wonder where they're going. Shopping maybe. Okay, so that's our little pot there in its nice sunny So Saffron pot. I think probably what would be really nice would be the cinnamon. I reckon the cinnamon cider would be really nice for a pot, light and dark. So I might do that one next time. Okay, so here's our little flower. So we can actually pop this card together now. So bringing back our bits and bobs, I'm going to, it's a good thing that's covered, I'm going to pop the, now you can see with this one, I've actually popped the two layers slightly off straight, or the blue one is slightly off straight. That sort of shouted at me that it was wrong when I did it, so I'm going to make this one straight rather than crooked. It's funny, isn't it, how used to lining things up you get, and then when they're not lined up, your brain screams at you. So I'm just using my snail adhesive, my press and seal, my seal, and I'm going to layer that up. Just like that. Nice and straight. Not exactly central, but nice and straight. So there we are. It's going to pop eventually onto the card front like that. I'm going to bring in some So Saffron ribbon though. I'm going to put that around this layer before I put our pot plant on. I just want to place it properly. So it's going to be sort of down around there. Just want to make sure my pot plant is central. So yeah, I want my ribbon about there. Cut myself an excessive amount of ribbon there. Actually, I might measure that. Where is that? That's 2 centimetres from the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to cut that ribbon down a little bit. I only need it just to dip around the edge. Okay, so I'll grab some double-sided tape. or you could use your snail, I suppose. I always just use double-sided tape for my ribbon. So I want it towards the bottom of the back there. Come on. Cut my fingernails, and I hardly have any fingernails left to peel. Good boy. Okay, so what did we say? 2 centimetres from the bottom. About there. There we are. Good morning, Margaret and Wanda and Michelle and Debbie. Wow, lots of new names. Please tell me where you're ringing from. Oh, ringing. Tell me where you're ringing from. Tell me where you're watching from so I can I know how far afield I'm getting. Then I'm just going to continue that stickiness with some snail and pop that on our front like so. You guys are going to have to tell me which one you prefer when we finish. Okay, so we've got that there. So our little succulent pot will be dry now, so he's going to pop just on there, and I'm going to use some dimensionals to do that. Got so many end bits here. You can tell I've just finished doing a class by mail because I've got lots of little end bits of dimensionals all over the place. And very few embellishments actually. Oh dear, I've got a class coming. Sally, when's the class? Next weekend. I've got a class next weekend and I am running dangerously low of basic rhinestones, so I may have to put out the plea for a couple of my attendees to bring their own BYO rhinestones, but it's one of the reasons I've changed the colour of this card, because I wanted to go to gold embellishments rather than silver ones, because I am down to my last quarter of a pack. Anyway, so if you're still watching, Sally, BYO basic rhinestones, thank you. Hopefully I've got an order coming with like 4 packs, so hopefully that will arrive and you can stand down, but at the moment I don't know. Orders are so slow at the moment. Okay, so here we go. We're going to pop our little pot plant just on there, so it's sort of central, just like that. So how's that? You know, you could bling that up a bit with some Wink of Stella. That would be lovely, but I won't leave that for the moment. Okay, so our little sentiment box here in So Saffron, it's going to pop up just up under here, and I'm going to use the hello, or no, the thanks from the stamp set. Just a nice little simple thank you card, but I am going to heat emboss it in white. So get my little card, my little catch-all card, and my first mark and my white powder. So try and get that as central as I can. I did the original one, I cut it second, which sometimes makes it a little bit easier to emboss. So some white. I'm going to get a pair of tweezers, I think, so I don't burn my fingers. Where are you, tweezers? Hey, where are you, tweezers? Can't find my tweezers. Too much stuff. Oh, here's some. I'll use these. These will be okay. I'll use these ones. Okay. You have a new packet. Thank you, Sally. It's all right. I don't think we're going to need a whole packet unless you're going to get particularly blingy. Okay, is that right? I have to take my glasses off. Can't see. Yep, that looks fine. Okay, so we'll pop that there. Get rid of this before I make a horrid mess. Or should we say another horrid mess? There's always horrid messes around here. And grab my tweezers. And forgive the noise, I'm going to bring in my heat tool. There we are. There's our little thanks there. It's a little bit pale against the yellow. I maybe probably should have done it in black, but I think that's quite nice anyway. So as I say, I'm going to pop that little guy just behind there on a couple of dimensionals as well. Okay, so on the inside I might just pop, I haven't done anything in the original card, but I might just pop a little extra show you some of the extra stamps in the set. Just want to position that so that little S just sort of snuggles in there so you can read it, read it through the leaves or through the succulent leaves. Is that what succulents have? Leaves? Leaves? It doesn't sound right, does it? Succulent bits. There we go. So I might do some embellishments. As I say, I'm going to use gold because, as we've discussed, I'm running out of silver here at the moment. Thanks to Sally, I may be redeemed. I'm going to use the gilded gems. Get my... Take your pick. You should see the mess I've made there looking for my tweezers. I've got tools everywhere. Okay, so let's just use our gold. I might just use 3 because these are quite large. Pop some embellishments around there. 1 and bigger one. Oh, where'd you go? There. Up here. Yeah, another little one just in there. Here we are. So how's that? That's a nice, bright, sunny, sunshiny, so saffron version of my card. So I'll bring the both in. There we are. So you guys can give me the decision which one you like best. To be honest, I think I'm actually still leaning towards my original. But anyway, I'm a sucker for blue, so that could just be me. So anyway, it's got some white ribbon and the silver embellishments, which makes it a little bit different. Okay, so card number 1, that's out of the way and done. Just let me know which one you like. The original one, the blue, yeah, Annette, I'm with you. But I like the yellow one too, so I like them all. Of course I like them all. Okay, so we'll pop that one aside. So the second one we're going to do today uses this wonderful die, this whole page die. Where is it? I'll bring it back in. So basically you can get like a whole page just as a background or a feature or something like that, just a whole card with that one die cut. So what I've done with this little version is I've just used part of it. I've got some sticky bits there. I've just cut out part of it and coloured it in with blends, like a sort of a, I don't know what you call it, like a stained glass window type effect, I suppose. So I'll just show you how I've done that. Get rid of that one. Okay, so this is the full thing. I'll leave it on the white so you can see. This is the full thing that you get when you die cut the whole thing. It's really, really lovely. I've seen it done white on white, so all you get is like a hint of a hint of the pattern. That's really nice. But I love this white, black, and I love the black against various colours as well. I think it's really, really lovely. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it down because I don't want to use it all because life's too short to do that much colouring in. And I'm just going to cut it down to the parts that I want. I've sort of reassessed compared to what I did last time. I'm going to leave a little bit more on, but I'm just cutting it so I basically get 1, 2, 3. So I'll tell you, I want that one, and that one for my card. And then I suppose if you were making a second card, you could use the others as well. But I just like those 3 there. They sort of are the most complete from our pattern. So I'm just cutting it to get rid of the excess that I don't want, which breaks my heart, but hey. There. Just let me concentrate a tiny bit. Apologies. If you're happy with that, I might take that off. Okay, so it's slowly taking shape. Trying to work it as I go, trying to fit it in with the one that I did before and how I wanted to change it slightly. Sorry for the blank air. Can't sort of concentrate and talk at the same time sometimes. Oh no, I cut one that I didn't mean to. Oops. Oh well, that's okay. I'll just glue it together when I put it down. There we are. So they're the ones that I want. You can see that's going to sit on our little card just like that. So here, these ones here have got sort of straight edges. So what I thought I'd do, it's like I did in my original one, I actually popped them hard on the edge of the card so that it looks like they're just overlapping and it doesn't look too weird. So I'm just going to try and cut them in line with the petal. You guys can just sort of talk amongst yourselves while I'm doing this. Apologies, it must be as interesting as watching paint dry. Maybe I should have done it before. But I thought it would be interesting or handy for you to see what I was doing. Okay, there we are. So that's the 3 flowers there that I actually want for my little design. So what I'm going to do is pop them on this smaller panel of Whisper White, line them up with the edge there so the straight edge goes along the edge, bring it down as far as I possibly can, and that's where I'm going to glue them. Now, you could use our glue, you could use Stampin' Up glue if you are exceptionally patient and not messy, whereas I am neither of those things, so I'm going to, I must say, use non-Stampin' Up glue. I like this glue because it comes with, and those of you who've seen it, comes with a little foam brush, which is perfect in my mind for doing this particular job. So I'm going to grab a piece of scrap something. Here we go. Pop it on there, and with my little brush, just going to paint on this glue. So anyone who's watching, don't tell anyone, but I'm using non-Stampin' Up stuff. That means I'll be thrown out of the guild or something, who knows. Won't make a big deal of it. More than I have. Okay, so it's just really, really handy. I suppose you could use the sort of the other end of the glue, but I still find that I get far too much on me and not enough on the cardboard stock. There we are. So I just got that little glue online. If you've got a favourite crafting store, it's just a pen and brush ink glue. Very easy, very handy for this sort of fine stuff. So we'll bring back our piece of cardstock here, line it up where I had it before. Bad thing about this ink is it doesn't have the play that our ink has. I love our ink that you can sort of move things around. Whereas this one, once it's down, baby. There we go. Okay, so that's that first little bit done. So now what I did with my original was basically I will layer it up. I might colour it first. I won't colour the whole thing again. I don't want to bore you to tears, but I will do a couple of them. So the one that I've done in light and dark Highland Heather, same sort of deal. Basically choose where you want your shadows. So obviously if the sun's coming from the top, the shadows will be at the bottom of the leaves and where they join each other. You know, the shadow from one leaf to another, just like that. This is my dark. No, it's my light. I've started light. Anyway, let's go back again. So we do the dark. Oh, that was Blackberry Bliss. Dark Highland Heather. Rewind, get the edited that out. Dark Highland Heather, where you want your shadows. It's going to be a little bit funny looking at the end. So what happens is with the alcohol ink of the blends, it will actually spread out a little bit so that it sort of matches up, or sort of matches totally into the corners where that little die cut is. So yeah, so it's fine. You won't see any white. It'll just merge in. Okay, so here we are. Okay, pretty good, except for a slight intruder of Blackberry Bliss. A light Highland Heather, she says, checking that properly, and we're just going to finish that off with the light. As I say, when you're blending, just light. Don't want to muck up your end, your brush end too much, so just light circles to blend those two colours or two shades together. Can actually use the other end if you're a bit worried about hurting it. That Blackberry Bliss looks very weird. Lesson for the day: make sure you read the labels on your blends. I think that one's going a little bit dry, isn't it? With that noise. Go back to the brush end, seem to have a little bit more ink in it. Okay. And little circles to blend that in. Now if I had my colour lifter, which I will have again, hopefully next order, I would probably lighten off the tips of those even more, just to give them even more contrast. But we'll just make do this time round. Definitely need a new Highland heather. I wonder if we've got another one there somewhere. Okay, so that's that one done. I'll bring it a little bit closer to the camera so you can see. There we are. So that's the Highland heather one. So this one down here I'm going to do in light and dark. What did I say? Granny apple green. This one's going to be granny apple green, and this one's going to be light and dark magenta madness. So what I might do is I'll do the green one. So we've got dark granny apple green. Yeah. Keep going. Guys could go and grab a cup of coffee or a biscuit. Is it lunchtime yet? I feel hungry. It might be nearly lunchtime. I don't know what time it is. And then our light. Somebody started their power tools across the road. He's been working a lot actually lately. They must be doing some renos. There we go, get nearly there. As I said, there was a lot of colouring with this, and I've probably been a little bit rougher than I should be, but you get the picture. There's our green one there, just so you can see that done. There we go. Okay, so this one would be magenta. It's not taking too long. I might do, as long as you guys are happy just to sit and watch me colour, I'm going to colour, I'll do the Magenta Madness one because I wanted to show you how to complete the whole thing. And I sort of need them all coloured to do that. Apologies. If you want to wander off and watch somebody else for a while and come back while we're finished. I do have a class by mail at the moment, if anyone's interested. I have created videos and written instructions for this particular one. If you pop over to my Facebook page, you'll see which one I'm talking about. It is actually the floating and fluttering class. Yeah, so the videos just went up. So if anyone would like, don't want to actually do the class but would just like access to the videos, if you drop me a line, I'm sure we can arrange something. They're not publicly available as yet, but I do actually have written instructions as well, so I'm happy to provide those at a small cost to anyone who might like to do the class but doesn't want to buy the any demonstrators out there who have everything they need to do the cards, and you just need a bit of instruction, a bit of inspiration. So drop me a line if you're interested, if you like the look of the cards and you'd like the instructions. I can come to some sort of arrangement for that. There we are, that's our dark. Don't you love that colour? I'm not a pink person, but that magenta is just amazing. It's a sometimes colour, let's say, for me. Like chocolate is a sometimes food. This is a sometimes colour. Oh, that glue hasn't quite taken there, so I'm going to have to be a little bit gentle with my colouring, or as gentle as I can be. Not overly known for my gentleness. It hasn't blended too well. Okay, nearly there. Going well. Thanks for sticking with me. I haven't been as careful with my blending there as I can. I'll show you the original one, which is blended much nicer. But there you go. So there's our pink. Probably not very realistic colours for succulents, but hey, there you are. They're pretty together. So what I've done with my original card is I've brought in my light mint macaron, which is one of my favourite colours for backgrounds. And I've actually just because it's a little bit stark there on the background, I've just gone through very sort of almost roughly, but sort of, and actually just coloured in the background just lightly with, you could pick whatever colour you like, but I like the mint macaron just as a sort of an icy background. So just pop that in. Don't go all the way up. Probably just need to pick a spot. Sort of take it where it takes, where it goes, where the flower goes closest to the edge. Just like that. Probably need another line there just to, let's have a look. I just need to pretend that there was something there that's a natural edge of it. So if I cut a tiny little bit of black, this is just me being picky, just a tiny little edge, so it makes it look like there's a natural end to it. There we go. Maybe there. And pop some tiny bit of glue on that. You're really you'll give up now. You say, she's lost it now, she's worried about that. But anyway, just a tiny bit of glue on the back of that. And that gives me a natural end to my colouring of that little background there. There we go. So as I say, just a little bit of mint macaron or some light sort of neutral colour in the background there, just to not make it look so stark. Okay, so then we'll bring in our sentiment, and I'm using the You Make the Ordinary Extraordinary of this one. I think it sort of fits nicely in that little bit there. So that's here. I'm just going to use this in black. Find the stamp block. And then we can layer it up and we're done. Excuse me, talking too much this morning. So just popping that, straighten it up if I can. Just popping that there so it fits in a little bit with the pattern of the flowers. There we are. And I will put some, I think silver, I'll use my silver dimensionals if I find them. Where are you guys? Hiding from me. Here they are. See, that's my packet. That's all I've got left. I'm going to spend them on this card. Just a couple of dimensionals, rhinestones, just in the natural sort of crevices, inlets of the succulents. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, we can layer him up. Now that's a layer of Highland Heather, just bringing the colours from our succulent forward a little bit, just highlighting it, and then straight onto our card base. And this one is my normal size card base. It's a 5 3/4 high or long, deep card base. Let's pop that there. Okay, and that one's done. There you are. So that's really nice. As I say, a lot of colouring, a bit of shading and bronzing, but I really, really like those sort of stained glass look of those particular stamps. So here's my other one, pretty much the same. These little ones here are actually from the dies as well, so they're little individual succulents, so you can cut them out separately. And I put those in there. I thought I needed a bit of something extra for this one, so yeah, I didn't pop them down there, but you can add as much or as little as you want. I think it just is really, really bright and colourful and lovely. Okay, so that's my 2 cards for today. Got 2 of those that are fundamentally the same, and we've got our blue version and our So Saffron version of this more traditional card here. So I hope you enjoyed those, and pop out and grab this bundle. As I say, it was in my pile of shame for so long, but I'm really glad that I managed to, I'll just tidy up a bit, managed to bring it out this weekend to show you. I'm actually using this cutout, or the full cutout, in a card for my my Zoom card party in February. So if you live in Australia and would love to pop online with me and some of my crafters, we're going to do a card that features this cutout on a full scale. So yeah, that's really, really great. So if you look, I think the links to that Zoom party are on my page at this moment. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Have a great Saturday and a great weekend, or a great weekend for people watching. As I say, this is the Simply Succulent Bundle, and it's from the current mini catalogue. If you don't have an active demonstrator and like to grab a copy of that, I'd be happy to pop that in the mail for you. No worries at all. Okay, so thanks very much. I'll see you all next time. Have a great day, and thanks for joining me.